peaches are ripe. They're ripe, June. Oh my gosh. Well, as you can see, our life looks a little bit different these days. Last month, we brought home our beautiful little baby girl. We decided to name her June Margaret. The clips in this video are a compilation of what our life has looked like recently. I started filming these clips around 3 weeks postpartum. The first several weeks of June's life, we honestly just hung out on the couch and in bed. We rested and slept in as much as we could and laid low for the first several weeks. After the first few weeks, though, I really started to crave being outside. Postpartum anxiety is a real thing, and I would say that I struggled with moments of that. So getting outside and letting myself really start to romanticize this new life that I was in was such a blessing to me. And it was so fun to film little clips of it along the way. I am sitting out here on the outdoor patio with little girl, with June. That is what we named her. We are getting some sunshine because she's had a touch of jaundice, not anything too bad, but just want to make sure that she gets a little bit of sunshine every day. We are almost 3 weeks postpartum, and I figured that I would just sit and chat a little bit about how things have been going, how we're doing, what we've been learning, and just catch up a little bit because, yeah, there's definitely been a couple weeks that have gone by, and postpartum is intense. Newborn life is intense, I will say that. I think just the nature of postpartum is extremely vulnerable, extremely tender, and it's just not, at least for me, it's not a season where I've felt really strong and confident and capable. I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like I need way more validation and encouragement and support than I ever have in my whole life. And thank goodness I have a wonderful husband and family and friends, and they've set up a meal train for us, and it's just been such a blessing to be taken care of by my people. But it's still just such a vulnerable time, and you really do just, I don't know, like you just feel, at least for me, I've felt cracked open. But I truly feel like that is God's design. I feel like that is how God designed this season to be, like very vulnerable, and where you are exposed, and the people in your life step up and protect you and surround you and support you. And I think a lot of times that is when we see God move the most, is in those seasons where it is past our strength and we have to rely on the strength of the Lord, and we have to come under his covering, come under his wings. The other morning I was up with little girl. Actually, it was more of the middle of the night. And I was up with June, and I've been trying to listen to my Bible app in the middle of the night because I tell you what, the last 2-3 weeks I have been on Instagram and social media and scrolling TikTok, and I've seen every reel that you could possibly see, and I've basically seen everything the internet has to offer. And after a while, like, that just was giving me so much anxiety in so much comparison and stress, and it was just not good for my brain. So I decided a couple days ago that I want to try to not do as much social media right now and protect my heart and my brain a little bit more. And so I've been listening to my Bible app at night, and the story that came up was the story of Elijah and the widow. And in this story, an angel tells Elijah that a widow is going to provide him food on his journey. And this was during a time of famine in the land. And he comes across the widow on his journey and tells her, you gotta feed me. God told me that you were gonna feed me. And she was like, oh, well, this is news to me. I don't have any food. All she had was a handful of flour and a little bit of oil in her jug of oil. And she said, I don't have enough food to feed you. I have a son and I need to feed him, and I can't help you. And he said that if you feed me first, if you bake me a loaf of bread, then that jug of oil and that jar of flour will never be empty until the end of the famine. And so she makes him the loaf of bread, and that's exactly what happens, that God provided miraculously for her because she chose to be obedient and to serve and put Elijah's needs and what God told her to do first. And I just so felt like during this season of my life that is what God is calling me to do, that motherhood is sanctifying, and it is about putting my needs second right now. And that doesn't mean that you turn into a doormat. That doesn't mean that you forget all self-care, or that your life has to be miserable and you're always last. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I do feel like there is significance to seasons of your life where if you let yourself come second and choose to serve and put others' needs first, and if I give my energy and my heart to serving June right now in this season, even if it's in a season of famine, like right now, I would say that season of famine is like a famine of sleep and famine of energy, and that if I choose to give that energy to June first, that I trust that God will provide, that my jar of oil and my jar of flour will not be empty, that my store of energy will not be dry during those seasons if I continually choose to put her first during this season. And it might not be that way every season. I don't know. But I just wanted to share that because that gave me a lot of encouragement that God does provide for his children. God does provide for his moms during those seasons of sacrifice and sleepless nights and discomfort. And I think there's so much hope in that. So I just wanted to share that. that was something that God's been teaching me and that has been really encouraging me. It is a few days later, and I am out here in my garden with little Miss here. I've been trying to get out here at least once a day and water and make sure that nothing is dying. As you can see, like this zucchini plant is a little bit stressed. When we first came home from the hospital, there was some really hot days that they didn't get much water. We set up a drip system, but the drip system doesn't seem to be working very well. Also, look at my zucchini. Marcus just brought in 3 more inside. But so there was a couple days where things just didn't get watered, unfortunately. That's how it goes. I kind of knew, like, putting this garden in this year, things weren't gonna be perfect. What lives, lives, and what dies, dies. And the rest will come out in the wash. Squash here is growing. I've got butternut squash, patty pan squash, I have acorn squash, I've got cucumbers. This bed here, I've got a bunch of flowers, which is so fun. I've never really grown flowers before. All these are zinnias here, and then all these are snapdragons. I love snapdragons. They are one of my favorite flowers, and they were especially my favorite flower as a kid because I thought it was so cool that if you like pinch the sides of the snapdragon, it looks like a dragon that's opening and closing its mouth. So that's really cool. And then I've got a bunch of carrots growing in the middle here, and some more flowers. I harvested pretty much all of my cabbage. This whole bed here was a bunch of cabbages, and the last week Marcus and I have been harvesting them and trying to start to process them. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with them. I used one tonight. We're making fish tacos for dinner, so I'm doing like a cabbage slaw for that. So that's one of them. We have like 6 more. I've got tons of tomatoes here on the trellis. Here, and here. And hopefully they'll just grow and grow and grow up the side of the trellis. You can see here that my squash is already starting to grow up the trellis. And that is just one of my favorite parts of my garden. This is the butternut squash here, and I just take it every day and kind of just weave it through, find any loose tendrils and just weave it through the trellis so that it can just keep growing up and up and up, and eventually it will grow all the way over to the other side, and I'll have this really cool, like a whole tunnel of vegetables, which I think will be so cool. I've got some pepper plants here. This is my pepper bed, and those are growing well so far. I actually have a couple bell peppers that I think are ready to pluck. I'm not totally sure how to tell when they're ready. I don't think that one's quite ready yet because I tried to pull it and it didn't really come off easy. So I gotta do some research on when is the best time to pull those. Also, this is the first year that I'm doing eggplant. I'm not gonna lie, I've never ate eggplant before, but Marcus likes it. So I figured I would try and grow it. It's right here. And maybe do some ratatouille with it, maybe do some eggplant parmesan with it. Oh, little girl, she's slowly waking up. But I had no idea that eggplant grows like on a plant like this that looks like a pepper plant. I honestly would have thought that it would have been kind of more like a vining squash kind of plant. I've also got some green beans growing. This whole bed, well, I should say half the bed is potatoes, and then the other half is leeks here. All the white stuff that's on top of the plant is diatomaceous earth. I sprinkle that over my plants when I notice that there's some bugs. We have horrible earwigs here, so hopefully that takes care of some of the earwigs. And we've got some green beans growing up the trellis here. That's kind of fun. I harvested all of the broccoli and cauliflower. I just washed them. I soaked them. Okay, first I soaked them in salt water so that all the bugs come out. And then I cut them into bite-sized pieces and then blanched them and then put them in little freezer bags and then froze them. I just figured I would give a little update how the garden is doing. It's always nice to be able to get outside and get some fresh air in the sunshine, or today is really cloudy, but it feels really nice, and it's actually pretty cool outside today, but it's just so nice to be able to get outside and get some fresh air and be off the couch. We're still getting used to the carrier. She isn't 100% in love with it yet, but she's had a couple successful naps on me in the carrier. So hopefully that's something that just continues to get easier and easier for us. I think before she totally wakes up, if I can get her to kind of settle, we might go back to the peach orchard and thin some peaches so that when the peaches really grow, they don't break, because we have a ton of peaches in our peach orchard. We have about probably about 150 peach trees, so a pretty big orchard. That's going to be a big project for this summer, and peach season's going to start in full swing here next month or so. So let's go do that.
My business, humming a song. I'm happy by myself, not a care in the world. This is a life, just me, myself, and I am watching the clouds up in the sky, all but laughing out loud. I'm telling you why I'm living the life, just me, myself, and I think that life was cold and lonely when you up and left me sad.
I'm out in my garden this morning. It is a couple days later, and oh my goodness, it is a beautiful day. I just feel like the last couple days has been so much better. I really feel like we're starting to turn a corner where we're starting to sleep through the night a little bit better, like 3-hour chunks at a time. And she's getting more and more comfortable in her little bassinet, and we're just figuring things out. Slowly but surely, we are learning how to do this mom thing. This morning I woke up around 7 and we just sat out on our outdoor patio over here and gave her some breakfast, and I just drank my coffee and listened to a sermon on my phone, and it was just perfect. It was one of those days where you just look around and I have this beautiful garden that I've dreamed about. Like, if you've been on this channel for a while, you know that this is my dream. Living on property in the country, surrounded by beautiful mountains, this beautiful garden, being a homeowner, getting to be a mom is like my number one dream. And having a wonderful husband that cares for us really well and is also my best friend. I mean, it truly felt like such a pinch me moment today, that all of the sleepless nights and everything, like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. And I know that there's gonna be seasons where really struggling, and like that's valid too. But then I'll have a morning like this morning where I just look around and think, how did I manage to have all these prayers answered? And it's just definitely a pinch me moment.
Strolling along, just minding my business, humming a song. I'm happy by myself, not a care in the world. This is a life just